It's about 6:30 p.m. here on Lazy Cow Farms. It's Thursday, July 3rd, 2025. I guess tomorrow is the firework day. So I wasn't expecting it to come so soon, but I guess that's what it does. This is that sheep that has been limping on the front left leg for so long. She had a really bad case of hoof rot. I sprayed her down and she healed pretty quickly, except there was some residual infection there on the left front hoof in between the toes. Probably call that hoof scald. So she's been struggling with this for months, but just now when I moved the animals, I saw that she was walking on all fours. Not comfortably, but she's walking on all fours there. You can see that. Let me do that again. You can see she's bobbing her head because it's not comfortable. Look at this grass. This Dallas grass is amazing. Anyway, let's see if we have new calves. I'm going to check first in the row, see if I see any animals. I don't see any. You know. Let's see what we got here. These two little ladies. Their rear ends are pink and swollen. I wonder what that means. I wonder if I bred them all. Let me go look at cows. I'm going to go see calves. I was watching the recent video by Alan Westerfield where he tongue-in-cheek says that his meat's been rotten because he finished his lambs on grain before harvesting them. And I think it was Greg Judy. I don't know when Greg Judy said it, but I think it was Greg Judy that says that if you feed them grain, you get 1/10 of the shelf life. I don't know how true that is. What is going on? I've never seen Blackie move with such gusto. I am in a predicament in my climate. If I don't feed them something besides hay in the winter, I'm going to lose a lot of them again, I think. I can probably blame it on the bad genetics of the bad animals that I got from my neighbor that were passed up by the broker. Probably I should blame myself. What's the saying? Like if a single student fails, the student's dumb, but if the entire class fails, the teacher's dumb. So I kind of felt like the entire class was failing. So I fed them some protein supplement that I gave the cows. There might have been something important that was missing from that. And, for the life of me, I can't really figure it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to meet up with some of these guys that do grain. I'm going to say, hey, what should I feed my lambs, my sheep in winter? I also my intention is to breed in winter, or to lamb in winter. So if I'm going to do that, I better have some extra nutrients for my animals. So, and I don't know where that's going to come from. I talked with the hay guy. He said he has a good batch of hay coming up, and I said, well, give me some of that. I'm going to set that aside for the sheep, and then give the cheap hay to the cows. I told him I like the weeds in the hay, which I'm sure he doesn't want to hear that. He'd rather sell better hay. But, the sheep eat the weeds. They like the weeds. And I got a lot of sheep. So I don't mind rolling out weeds into my pasture. It just helps, Hey there, I think you're Red's calf. Yeah, you're Red's calf. So that is number 10's calf. I'm going to keep him despite the fact that he's probably not South Pole. And I'm probably going to keep this one, even though she's not South Pole. No, he's not South Pole. I think it's a boy as well. I think that's a boy. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's a boy. Anyway, so I'm thinking about feeding them grain or something in the winter. I don't mind if they lose a little condition in winter. I do mind if they lose a lot of condition. Okay. So especially the ones that are carrying animals or carrying young lambs inside of them or giving birth. So I got to keep my eye on that. And I know that that's not, quote unquote regenerative, but I don't see how feeding grain to your sheep is going to affect the soil. Maybe I make sure that the grain doesn't have a ton of, pesticides in it or something. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't think, even if it was, I'm going to be feeding them so little grain compared to the hay, I don't think it's going to make a difference of anything. But if my pasture dies or something because of the grain, then I'll know. I just don't know what grain to feed them. So I'm going to talk to some of the guys that sell feed around here. I'll get one of those 1,500-pound bags and just fill it up with grain and go through it during the winter. Set up a bunch of mouse traps or something. Keep the mice away from it. Anyway, you can see the condition of my animals. I think they're all doing just fine, especially for early July. They could keep this condition. That one's a little skinny. I think that one's a St. Croix though. They just don't put on weight very well. I guess they survive, but they just don't get fat. You don't get big. So I'm honestly not too concerned about parasites. I don't think I have a parasite problem anymore, if I ever had one. I haven't really measured for it, but anyway, yeah, I like these Lampasas sheep. If I had to do it over again, I'd start with them. I'd probably start with 20 of them. Sheep, you need quite a few sheep. They do like to stick near each other. They're a lot easier to manage if you have a bunch of them. If you only have like 2 or 3, they're very difficult to manage. Probably 5 to 20 is a good starting number. Anyway, that's kind of my thoughts right now. Look at all that grass. It's crazy. This is crazy grass. And this is the Dallas grass has gone to seed. You can see that. So, they're down there munching the leaves of the Dallas grass. You can see what they did here. There's not much. I don't think there's any Dallas grass standing. I don't see any of it. I see this stuff. I don't know what this is. Is this one of those like foxtail or something like that? Let me focus on my thumb. That's what that is. I'm sure it's something. But manure's looking just fine. I mean, they're getting a fantastic source of protein from somewhere. So they're doing just fine in manure. It's been a little dry. We got a little rain today. I think it just made it more humid. But the temperature's not very high. I think it's like 85 degrees right now. So tomorrow afternoon I'll move them to a new row. And start the whole row again. Twice a week. Start a new row. Every Tuesday morning, every Friday evening. So those videos should come out Wednesday and Saturday. Anyway, that's where my thoughts are, is what do I do about the feed? If you guys have suggestions, I kind of, every time Alan Westerfield says he feeds his sheep grain, I wish he would say what he feeds or where he gets it from, or if it's some combination of feed or whatever it is. I don't know that he's not saying because he doesn't want people to know as a trade secret, or he doesn't want people to know because he doesn't want to lose customers. I don't know which way that works, but he seems to do pretty well with his sheep, and I certainly can do a lot worse than he does. I'll put it that way. I certainly have done a lot worse than he does. So anyway, now Greg Judy, his situation's quite a bit different than our situation because he has that magical fescue grass throughout the winter. He also, I think he spends a lot of time in the woods with his sheep, and there's all kinds of things that grow in the woods that the sheep like to eat. I'm very much a pasture, If I could magically cause trees to spout every 200 feet or so, I'd do it. But the sheep are grazing on on things that I don't even know what they're grazing on, you know, in Greg Judy's pasture. So, and he does pretty good with it, I think. He doesn't really keep a huge flock, though. I would expect with 300 cows, if he's doing like half of the AUs for cows and half of the AUs for sheep, he should probably have something like 2,500 sheep, you know, but I don't see that. He has closer to like 300, I think. So I don't know that he really, like, if you only have that many sheep and they're picky eaters, they're probably not, you know, being stressed too much if they have to follow the cows or lead the cows or whatever. So I don't know. I don't know what the whole story is. Stuff I got to figure out and keep experimenting with, you know. Anyway, guys, you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.